Okay, could you please rise and welcome Hilton Garcia, who's our minister today.
Now, how many of us remember just last Sunday? You see, God moved, didn't He? God did some wonderful things on Sunday. And you know, when God does wonderful things, it makes it easy to brag and talk about the things of God. I've got a couple of people that are going to share stuff that happened last week with you this week. Would you guys make your way up here? There's one. There's two. Yes, three. Wonderful. All right. So, tell us what happened.
Last night when Jay called me, I was a little confused, but then I was like, okay. What happened is for the last 2 weeks, I was in a sling and a finger brace because I had jammed my finger in a door, and apparently also had sprained my shoulder. And I had been prayed for 3 times. And last Sunday, Mary and her little group prayed for me, and as they were praying, they were also praying for the trauma. And on top of that, the Lord was showing me 4 years before an event that happened at work as well with my other arm. And then, so that was broken, and also someone heard of a confidence of listening to the Lord and how I wasn't sure if I was really listening to Him, and of would He heal me, but also other stuff. And I had accepted that, and so I repented of it. And as soon as that was done, immediately I felt 3 shock waves go through my body. And I knew I was being healed, so I started taking off the finger brace and the sling, and by the time I put it in, it was in my backpack, I was healed. And so when Lanny wanted to have an evidence of being healed, I actually gave it to him. He was like, no, show the congregation. So I was actually holding it. By the evening, we were sitting and reading and doing some homework, and I was talking, and apparently because I'm a teacher, I try to keep my students' attention, and I talk with my hands. Well, this is my hand that was messed up and my arm, and I was talking and moving, and so that I am completely healed, and the Lord was touching not just my physical body, but also my spirit and my heart.
Amen.
I just want to testify to the almighty power of God, and I have shoulder issues because sometimes my shoulders will just kink up a little and get into a place where they're kind of hard to move, like full range of motion. And I'd been in that way for many weeks. Hadn't done anything about it. When I got home from my old job at Virginia, when I got home only a few weeks ago, I really started actively trying to put it back into place, exercising it, stretching it, massaging, warming it, all sorts of methods. So anyway, Friday night, 2 Fridays ago, before the Healing Sunday, I came up when they said, let's go pray and let's have people experiment and, see how this healing thing works. And so before I'd even gotten prayed for, nobody had even laid their hands on me yet. This is where it always gets me. I'm standing in the line, and I'm just soaking in the presence of God because somebody else is being healed over here, and I haven't even been prayed for yet. And immediately, there's a large crack in my back. Nobody's touched me, and the bone immediately places itself right in my back. So here, like Pastor Laney that night said, God is in the chiropractic business, and He's pulling things in. So I didn't even get prayed for by a person, but the Spirit was there and immediately healed me out of something that I could not do myself. So, and that was instant relief. Obviously, that was what I was looking for. So God healed me from that. On Sunday morning, when I was being prayed for my foot, many of you know that I was in an accident with a car running over my foot many, many years ago, and left me on crutches for 4 months. And then I didn't really get any therapy for that. To re-strengthen and lengthen the muscles. So I've always had trouble with my hip. Well, one of the ladies that she was praying for me, she saw a very small black sliver of something still embedded in me from that accident. That's what she perceived. And so she started praying for me. She said, Sarah, somewhere around this area. She started praying for me, and I felt that something prick in that area. And I'd never experienced this before. I actually felt a very small pain, a sharp pain of something, like winding its way out of my skin. And as we kept on praying, I kept on feeling that thing remove, and then I felt sort of like a healing balm closing it up. And so I really felt that whatever was remnant from that, whatever was causing me pain, whatever was creating my joints to get out of joint from that point on, has been removed from me permanently, and I have nothing left over from that accident. The Lord has separated me from it. So.
Hey, girl. Ready?
So last Sunday, I should preface with, I'm from a very conservative background. We never do anything like last Sunday. So when it happened, I was like, okay, God, I'm going to stay open-minded. I'm going to really walk into this. Can you hear me?
Well, I want everybody to hear this. This is real special.
You know, I can hear me just fine. So anyway, last Sunday happened. The Pastor Lanny, he was up there, and he was saying that he was going to pray for anyone to start to feel the pain of anyone else so that they could pray for them, right? And I was like, okay, God, I really don't want to do this, but if you want me to, I'm open to it. So he started praying, and my hand started hurting. And I was like, no way that happened that quickly. I mean, that's just my head, right? That's all me. So I didn't say a word. I sat there, and I watched everybody else getting up, and I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good. My hands aren't really hurting, are they? You know, I'm like drying my hands out. And then he goes on, and I still sat there. I was like, well, maybe my hands are hurting, so I'll just pray for me. Like, that made sense. And then Pastor Lanny said, well, sometimes God will give you the face of someone that you know, and then that's, you know, they'll transpose it onto someone else's face. Well, instantly I saw my Aunt Nadine, and she's riddled with arthritis in her hands. And I'm like, oh, no. Well, maybe I'm supposed to pray for my Aunt Nadine. So I still didn't say anything. I was praying for my Aunt Nadine. And then Pastor Laney was like, well, one of the leaders come forward and, you know, see what they have, what God has spoke to them. Miss Peggy got up, and she says, I just feel like there's somebody here who has problems with their hands. And I just instantly went, man, I was disobedient, you know. God gave me 3 chances to get up and do it, and I didn't. So I looked over at my husband, and I was like, I was disobedient. And Stephen was like, it's not too late. Get your butt up and get up there. So I come up there, and I told Miss Peggy what happened, and I have never seen such an amazing miracle. I mean, I still don't believe it happened. The lady had trouble with her hands, and my hands are always cold, and they got warm. It was the weirdest, coolest thing that has ever happened. But it was like someone had poured a warm liquid through my hands, and to see her get healed, I honestly didn't believe her at first. I wanted to be like, let me see. Really? Are you really healed? But God did an amazing thing last weekend, and it's unbelievable how cool he is, and how even when you're disobedient, if you'll still just open up and give him a chance, he'll be there. He'll show you how cool he is.
Very good. Thank you.